Well, guys, the stock market is just wild. I mean, we're seeing the bears screaming louder than ever. Everything's going to crash down. Now the pumpers are all back, pumping everything to the moon again. And even the people who were pumpers, who then turned bears, are now back to being bulls again. But is this all basically a setup once again? And it's a complete fake out set up to absolutely screw you guys in the end. So let's explore today after you gently hit that like button, and also make sure you're subscribed to, especially those of you guys that are regular watchers on my channel. Just make sure it's clicked down there. Don't forget the March Madness sale is going on right now. Check out the pinned comment down there. You get 5 free courses, all my buy and sell alerts, watch lists complete with price targets, the best Discord out there, and a ton more. Not going to go over everything here. Just make sure you check out the pinned comment down there and see if it's right for you and see everything you get. All right, so there are 3 things about this market that make this setup completely possible, and we'll run through those, and then I'll give you my take on exactly what I think is going to happen and exactly what I'm doing about it. First, the idiots that have been out there for the past year and a half making 972 predictions actually missed 970 times, but the 2 predictions that they got right, they're out there telling you they were right the whole time. Look at my predictions that I got right. That's right, the same guys who told you to avoid Tesla in the low 100s, avoid Meta in the 80s, avoid Nvidia down around $100 or so, avoid AMD at 50, and a whole host of other stocks like that when they were all beaten down dogs. Those folks were out there telling you, avoid them, run from them, it's going to get worse. They said Tesla was worth $400 in 2021, but then in 2022 and 2023, it was only worth $40 based upon, I don't know, magic charts and graphs and, turtles humping on a Tuesday in the middle of a pond. I mean, I have no freaking idea where this type narrative comes from, where basically Tesla at 400 is a great buy, Tesla at 100 is a terrible buy because it's going to 40. Now, I'm not saying there's not a place for technical analysis and a lot of other things like that, but a lot of these folks were long-term buy and hold investors, and they were basically giving you that narrative of a stock at all-time highs was a great buy, and a stock at an all-time low was a terrible buy. You basically lost out big time following all that noise and all those methods and everything else. Those are methods, those are type trading techniques that guys like Cramer use and hedge funds use, and I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like their performance compared to guys like Warren Buffett and Peter Lynch, who absolutely hate those types of strategies. So to me, I need to look at whose investments perform better. The guys running around like Cramer and hedge funds, or the guys like Peter Lynch and Warren Buffett there. Now, I'm not talking about who got more clicks, who got more likes, who had more engaging videos, and all this other wild stuff like that. I'm sure that absolutely leans in the favor of those guys. But in regards to actual investments, the pendulum actually swings the other way. And that, to me, that dynamic right there that you kind of have where everybody's kind of trying to be like Cramer and trying to be like hedge funds is absolutely why this could be a big setup. Second, I know the narrative is going to flip-flop back to bearish again and extreme bearish again here shortly. And let's just kind of run through the past month to basically see what happened. Basically, it was, hey, the rally's dead, it's overextended, it's going to happen. And then it was, oh my gosh, the Fed is going to raise us by 0.5. And then all of a sudden it was kind of like, the banks are failing, they're all going to fail, this is terrible, Papa Powell needs to go down to 0, he can't raise anymore. And then he raised 0.25 again, and then the apocalypse was coming, but then the very next day, the market rallied and was up. In every one of those scenarios, the people discussing that, the people talking about that, were absolutely positive that the Fed was going to raise 0.5. Then they were positive that the banks were going to fail. Then they were positive that this rally is going into the toilet. And then they were positive that the Fed was going to do this. And then they were positive whenever the Fed didn't do what they said. There's just too many positives that never seem to happen. So I don't understand how these guys can be absolutely positive all the time, or not positive in terms of positive. You guys know what I'm saying. Like absolutely guaranteed this is going to happen. There we go. That's a better word. I need to get better vocabulary here. Anyways, the point is they were guaranteeing all these things were going to happen just in the past month. Basically, good, bad, back, forth. So to me, it's just a matter of time until that narrative flips to extreme bearish again from that moon that we're kind of seeing right now with everybody kind of coming out of the woodworks saying bye, 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 bye. So that absolutely is a setup for the narrative to absolutely switch the other way and for that rug pull to happen to us as investors and for us to see a huge downturn. And third was just simply the epic rally at the beginning of the year, guys. I don't know how else to explain it, but you can't just have these monster run up in a ton of stocks like you had and not expect a pullback. It's kind of been, choppy trading ever since they kind of hit, mid-February, end of February or so. But in general, when you have that sort of run up at the beginning of the year where you're getting multi-year returns in some cases in stocks, basically in the first quarter of the year, it's going to give some of that back, guys. That's just part of the stock market. Even if you are going to have a stock because it was beaten down so badly that it needs to be a boom year, even the S&P, if it was beaten down so badly last year that it needs to have a more than normal up year the following year, it still can't be this hot this early because we got another, 9 months, a little bit under 9 months to go for the rest of the year there. You don't want to take all your gains in the first quarter and then trade flat. You want to see a nice steady march up here. And part of that steady march up means we're going to see a rocket up. Then you're going to see a pullback before it starts its next run again if we truly are going to start marching our way forward towards that bull market cycle. But in the meantime, when you do see a huge move up at the beginning of a year like this, when it's so strong, and I mean, this was ridiculously strong in a lot of stocks, it's absolutely a setup for a big drawback on the back end. And we all kind of know how momentum with stocks work, right? They kind of tend to over-exaggerate to the upside, then they over-exaggerate to the downside there. So it's absolutely a setup for a very rushed downturn if that decides to happen. Remember, at the beginning of the year, this was supposed to be a terrible year for stocks. I mean, everybody, positive YouTubers were negative on the market in 2023. So was the media. So was virtually everyone out there negative on the stock market. And basically that negativity lasted all about 3 days before an epic rally happened in the market. So it absolutely makes sense that we would absolutely get beaten down to oblivion because that run was so strong. If indeed all the people guessing all that things at the beginning of the year that 2023 was going to be a terrible year, that means we got a big way to fall here during 2023 because of this huge run up. But I don't care about any of that stuff, guys. I honestly don't. That is not even on my mind. What I care about is, am I buying a stock that's overvalued or undervalued? That is all that matters in the end, not all these other things, not all these other narratives, not everything else that was going on. I personally don't care that my last buy on Tesla was 103. I don't care because to me, Tesla is still in undervalued territory right now. So anything under $200, I'm absolutely looking and willing to buy again at that market price because it's undervalued. That's it. None of this other stuff matters to it. It's undervalued. And on the flip side, I don't care that SoFi can't seem to gain any traction in this market. It doesn't matter to me because it is undervalued from a valuation perspective. They are absolutely performing underneath, just they haven't been rewarded like Tesla has this year in regards to stock price. And that's okay. That happens. But all I need to know, the only thing I need to know is, are they overvalued or are they undervalued? I don't care that ChatGPT may cure cancer tomorrow. I honestly don't, guys. All that I know is Google is a great company and the stock price is almost at the lowest valuation ever. Not quite back to what it was when it was in the 80s, but it is still undervalued. And that's all I need to know. I don't need to know that ChatGPT is going to cure cancer tomorrow. I hope it does. That would be great. We'd all love a cure to cancer. In the meantime, though, it means nothing to me in regards to Google, their business model, and everything else that's going on there. The reality is, I have no idea what the market's going to do next, and neither does anyone else, guys. Absolutely nobody knows. It doesn't matter in the end either. That's the other thing that I know. It doesn't matter that I don't know or that nobody else knows. It absolutely doesn't matter. As far as I know, there are no trillionaires, which basically tells me nobody's cracked the code in regards to knowing where the market's coming next, despite everybody telling you that they know where it's going next. And oh, by the way, think about the greatest investors ever, and all of them freely admit, we have no idea what's going to happen the next day. So how the heck are they the greatest investors ever if they have no idea where everything else is going or where the market's going or what the trend is or anything else like that? How the heck are they the greatest investors ever and they continue to outperform everyone over decades? How does that happen? That happens because they buy great companies at undervalued prices or even fair value prices and they just hold. They don't try to guess where anything's going. They don't even bother with that fool's game in the first place. All you really have to do is have a valuation and a plan for the stock, and you don't need to know where the market's going. Then you know all you need to know in regards to getting a stock at a great price. And oh, by the way, Wall Street gets stupid, guys. Tesla being beat down to $100 based upon some imaginary demand issues and because Elon was selling a ton of Twitter, absolutely that was part of the reason why it got beat down. Down to 100 was kind of ridiculous in regards to that deal, and that's great. That's what traders do. Traders give you opportunities all the time to get great stocks at prices you should never be able to buy it at. I mean, think about Meta for a second. That honestly was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life. Somehow, Meta prints cash like crazy. Basically Mark Zuckerberg can spend billions, $10 billion a quarter, whatever the heck it was on the metaverse. Oh, by the way, they're still profitable. They're still printing cash. It doesn't really hurt anything. They're still growing free cash flow. Everything's growing still. And yet, Wall Street just thinks the stock is done and it's no longer a money printer, and he can't just immediately stop and reverse trend and do something different or kind of get more focused on profitability. So therefore, Meta needs to trade at like a PE of 7 or 8 or something ridiculous like that, like 3 times cheaper than Coca-Cola. Really? That was one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen in my life, to where regardless of how you feel about, Zuck or, Meta or Facebook or whatever the heck it is, or where you feel about the metaverse or anything else, that's stupidly undervalued. And that's absolutely what Wall Street gave you, was a monster gift right there at that stock at that price. That's why I love traders. I don't have anything against traders. It's not a game I personally play, because I know in regards to long-term returns and of course my stress level, more importantly, it's not going to give me what I need. However, that's one of the beauties of it. All you got to do is just basically do evaluation, ignore the noise, and oh my gosh, Meta was a screaming deal. It was a screaming deal at $150, $180, much less $80. But yet there were people petrified to touch it. Why? I don't know. I mean, there was nothing bad with the business, nothing bad with anything else out there outside of the fact he was probably blowing too much money on the metaverse, which he was still able to turn a profit despite blowing too much money on the metaverse there. And oh, by the way, the moment he decided to flip that switch, it goes on an epic run here. And now you can basically look at what the analysts are thinking it's going to go to in the next, couple of years or so. And it's still undervalued and way below those prices that they have out there right now. Again, these were the same analysts that were saying $80 was too expensive. So you know exactly why I don't listen to those guys at all. Wall Street gets dumb all the time. And what did we have at the end of 2022? Record levels of puts, record levels of short positions against stocks. What the heck happened at the beginning of 2023? All those people got absolutely roasted. That's Wall Street for you. That's Wall Street. I know people call it smart money, but guys, let's be honest here. Unless you're a trader and you're engaged in those trades and you know exactly what's going on individually with those companies and such, it's a really tough game to play. It just really is. So to me, the stock market is absolutely not screwing me at all if they decide to dump prices down to stupid levels again, because I know long term, Wall Street will eventually quit being stupid to the downside and they're going to get stupid to the upside. And guess what, guys? When they get stupid to the upside, people that were buying when they were stupid to the downside make a lot of money, and your portfolios will go from that, that ugly red color that we've all been seeing for quite a while to significantly green ahead of time. And then everyone else will start trying to FOMO in, and then that just pushes your stocks up even further. And, I'd much rather be in that spot than being one of those folks trying to FOMO in to the next bull market. Don't worry about it. Do your valuation, set your price targets, and then execute your plan. And if you don't know how to do all those things, make sure you check out the pinned comment down there and jump all over the March Madness sale and get your spot, so that way you can absolutely do those same exact things, learn all those techniques, and be with a group of 6- and 7-figure investors all there to help you and support you through the entire thing, including me. I do live streams. You guys can jump into my DMs anytime you want. It's a lot of fun, guys. So make sure you check it out. It's the pinned comment down there. And click here if you want to see the 3 stocks that I'm currently buying right now. And click here to see my exact plan for this market right now. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.